Okay, so this will be my equipment ideas video. I am going to talk about the equipment that I'm planning to use and a more in detail video about how I'm going to use it, where I'm going to use it, and hopefully how I'm going to use it, where I'm going to use it, and some examples of previous attempts and tries and practices. Okay, so first of all, I have got the 5D Mark IV. This is a high-tech camera created with several different modes. So the one I'm going to be using is manual. I am going to be using the 5D Mark IV only in studio. So what I'm going to use this for is my macro lens idea. My macro lens idea is where I am going to shoot a model. I'm going to shoot my model's eye, and then I'm going to take that image into Photoshop and edit it. So what I'm going to do is using the 5D Mark IV, I'm going to use a high shutter speed of about 400. This is because when I'm using the macro lens, I need to up my shutter speed when I'm using it handheld, because when the focal length is so small, the handheld shake of the person holding the camera is just amplified by about 4. So usually I would match my shutter speed to my aperture, which would be f. I'd match my shutter speed to the camera, to the lens, but this time I'm going to make my shutter speed slightly higher, so 4 times higher. Next I'm going to be using is, with the macro lens, I'm going to be using a approximate aperture of 5.4 so that I can get that maximum sharpness while maintaining the close distance that I can. The only thing that I need to be worried about is that with such a delicate balance, if I go too low, my images may be out of focus, but if I go too high, they start to get very grainy, and that also reduces the sharpness. So this is going to be the 5D Mark IV. I'm going to be using a 32 gigabyte 95 megabytes per second SD card, so that I don't have to stop and wait for my images to load, because I'm going to be shooting in RAW. There will be quite big images. Yeah. So 5D Mark IV, manual mode with a macro lens, which I'll show to you now. So here I have my macro lens. This is a macro 100mm lens by Canon. It has a ratio of 1 to 2.8. This is especially useful for shooting up close images like the eye, especially since the iris itself is actually a flat surface underneath the coating, so it will make it easier to shoot the eye. It also comes with this light hood. This is a ET73 light hood. This is made so that any refraction from light coming in hitting the glass, which is very close to the cap in a macro lens, and bouncing off will not create any undesired lens flares or rainbows or anything. So with this, I'm going to attach this onto my 5D Mark IV, and I'm going to get as close to the subject as possible. So with this lens, we have the option for a focal length of full. So if using the focal length full, the camera will roam for focus points, or I could use the focal length 0.5 to infinity. So that's when the camera will look for as far as it can go for images to focus on, for subjects to focus on. or I could use the 0.3 to 0.5. Now the 0.3 to 0.5 is the setting I'm going to use for my image, because I have the ability to control my subject, i.e. that I'm not shooting wild. So that the camera knows not to focus on anything farther or closer to the camera to that 0.3 to 0.5 point. Okay, so next what I'm going to show you is that the camera has an option for a stabilizer built into the lens. This is perfect because when I'm going to be shooting up close to my model's face, I want the ability of moving that having a handheld option gives me. But with moving, you get a little bit of camera shake from my hands. So with the stabilizer, it's just going to stabilize those movements, the little movements that I have with my hand, with an inside stabilizer, with an inside gimbal, so that when I move, it counter moves and it just creates a more stable image, which can knock down your shutter speed by about 2 points, and with a lower shutter speed, it's less likely to have grain. Next, I'm going to show you is some of the another idea. So overall, with this macro lens, I'm looking to create close-up images with detail in the eye that I will then take into Photoshop and InDesign to create an image manipulated, moving the levels and the lines of the iris in accordance with my idea. So these are some of my I'm going to show you some of my practices. I practice with coins, paper notes, and with a friend's eye. So next, what I'm going to show you is the my other idea. My other idea is a outside shoot in golden hour, and I want to use an external flash to create a red shadowy highlighted look on my model. So when I'm shooting this, I'm not going to be using the 5D Mark IV. I'm going to be using the 800D Canon camera that we have. So this 800D I'm going to be shooting in manual. This 800D has a 50mm prime lens attached to it. I'm using the prime lens because I want to open up my my image to get a sharp picture. Next, I'm going to look at some of the external flashes, which I'm going to use to highlight the red on my model. Okay, so I have an array of things here. First of all, I have this little box. This is where the external flashes live. The external flashes are really useful for just controlling light outside of the studio, which can be a bit difficult because there are some things that you can't control, like the amount of light outside, so it just gives you a hold. So we have this little tripod, which helps stand up any of the flashes so that if I don't have an extra hand, I can do that. And they extend to about half their size, which is perfect. They are also very handy that they're easy to hold. So if necessary, I can hold the camera in one hand and use my flash on the other like this. But also, if I'm low on people to help me, I can use my model to put her hand out for a close-up and give her and hold the flash on herself, basically. Godox external flash, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take this battery right here and pop it in. Like so, and then I'm going to attach this light bulb right here. This is basically where the flash comes from. Tighten it, screw it tight, and then this will attach to the top of my camera. This is a wireless Godox Pro mount, and it attaches to the camera so that when you press the camera shutter, the flash will go off. So it should go off if I turn this on. Okay, but I can't use the flash like this because it will be too... I can't use the flash like this because it will be too bright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a diffuser on top. The diffuser spreads out the light so that it's not too harsh, but it also protects the light bulb, which is a good addition. So I'm going to secure the bulb first. By aligning the red dot. Screw it in. Align this. Okay, so with this, I'm going to attach a diffuser, and this diffuser just protects the light bulb, but it also stops the light from being so harsh. With only this, the light will be extremely harsh. So hopefully, I can give you a show of how the light works. So if I press this, that's the flash going off. It can be it's quite bright to look at directly. I have it on a low brightness just now, but that's basically how I'm going to be using my flash. Okay. However, if I want to have a red hue on my model, what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this red color gel. As you can see just through these lights, it gives a red hue, and when the flash goes off, it will be quite pronounced, especially over highlight areas, and it will make the shadows look a bit darker and more contrast. This will attach to a different type of mount, which is essentially the same principle of just screwing it on, but it has a mount to just slip this on, which is not here with me now. The last thing I'm going to use in my Cycone external shoot is this. This is a soft beauty dish. The beauty dish diffuser is relatively easy to use. It attaches onto a attacher like this and straps on and just diffuses even more than this. So just to create that nice softer look, which I'm going for. So that's all the equipment that I have today. I'm hoping to show you, I'll show some examples of me practicing with the external flashes here. So thank you for listening.